Hi, my name is Anandeshwari. Welcome to another session on psychological testing. Today we are going to be discussing norms, right? So let's start with what are norms in testing, right? Now you must have, as a student of psychology, you must have heard that you need to refer to the norms of this test, right? What are the norms of this test? Explain it simply. It means that what are the conditions under which this test was standardized. And when we say standardized, right, you refer to our earlier lectures and you would know that standardization happens under certain conditions. Standardization happens when certain conditions, certain qualifications, certain parameters are met, right? So when we say what is the standardization of quality for any product, for like milk, right? It would mean that it has a certain percentage of milk solids, fats, all of that, right? The quality check is ensured, right? This is what we mean when we say that you need to refer to the norms. We mean that what are the qualities, or what are the standards, or what are the circumstances and conditions under which this test will perform to the optimum and is applicable, right? So that is what is roughly, or as a layperson, if you need to understand what is norms, this is what norms is in layperson language, right? Now let's look at the technicalities of norms, right? It is a statistical benchmark. Statistical benchmark means that the benchmarks of it, the standards of it, the quality standards of of the norms are statistically determined, right? So it'll tell you what is the mean, what is the average, what is the median, what is the percentile, what is the age at which it is applicable, and how will it tell you that? Because it was at the construction phase, it was tested on this population, right? So that's how it arrives at, through the construction process. During the construction process, it was tested on such and such population, and based on that, a statistical benchmark is arrived at, or a statistical standard of quality is arrived at, right? So norms are statistical benchmarks, right? It is derived from the performance on a representative sample of the individual, right? So as I was saying before, how are norms derived? Norms are derived by conducting the test on a representative sample of the individual, right? वहाँ इस sample पे test करके you arrive at what is the statistical benchmark, right? So you test on a sample and you arrive at the benchmark, right? It provides a frame of reference for interpreting raw test scores. Now, when we say standardization, when we say that norms provide standardization, it also means that it helps make the raw test score meaningful, right? How will a test score become meaningful? So, for example, if I say that I scored 9, right? Now, in my test, I scored 9, in itself doesn't mean anything unless you know, unless you qualify it or you add qualities to it to standardize it. So this would mean I scored 9 out of 10. That's another adding a quality to it, right? Then I scored 9 out of 10 and I was the first in my class, right? Then that is meaningful information. So it helps you provide a frame of reference. Norms help provide a frame of reference to your raw score. It makes the raw score meaningful by instilling or by enabling comparisons, right? So that's how it adds meaning to your raw score. Now it transforms meaningless raw score into meaningful information. We have just discussed that. So we already know what norms are. Norms kya hai? Norms are the quality standards that the test meets, right? How do you derive norms? You derive norms by testing it on a representative sample. What do norms help you do? It helps make comparisons and it gives meaning to your raw data. So these are the three things that you need to remember when it comes to what are norms, right? Now that we know what norms are, let's start with what is the purpose and benefit of norms. Why do we need norms, right? Simply put, the first answer at a logical level is that we need norms for standardization, right? And why do we need standardization? Introduce scientific rigor and to ensure that the results that we get after test administration, they are universal, right? So that is why we need to develop norms. We need to ensure that the test has gone through the standards of quality control and through the standards of quality check. And without this standardization, we cannot with certainty say that who is this test for and whether this test is accurate, right? Whether we can for sure say that this test is doing what it is supposed to do, right? And this is an important aspect of it because, see, in psychological testing, you're actually, these tests, the results of these tests may actually be used to make life and death decisions, right? They may actually alter the course of someone's life, right? Whether they get, say, an IQ certificate or not, whether they get admission or not, right? All this would actually depend on the quality and on the accuracy of these tests. So norms are extremely important. Let's go through it. Let's go through the benefits together, right? It provides contextual interpretation. When we were earlier saying that norms help give meaning to the score, this is what we mean. It defines the context of the score. Or when I say define the context of the score, it can start from the most marginal, right? It can start with what were the conditions under which this norm was developed, whether they were standardized, whether the room was quiet, etc., etc. Who are they developed for, right? What is the population on which this is applied, and what is the meaning of the raw score compared to that population, right? So, as I was saying, that comparison gives context, or comparison gives context, and context gives meaning, right? So that is why it provides contextual interpretation. It reveals whether performance is typical, allowing outliers of for intervention. So for example, it helps you understand in IQ test, it helps you understand who is identify whose performance is, say, average IQ, and then who is getting superior IQ, who's getting borderline IQ, right? And based on that, you can target interventions, right? Based on that, you can offer help. You can offer the most, say, appropriate kind of intervention. For example, even your diagnostic tests, right? Whether this is normal sadness or whether this is depression, a test would help you identify that and then offer help, right? It ensures fairness and comparability, right? When we say comparability, we've already spoken about it. What does ensuring fairness mean? Obviously, right? Your admission, say an admission into a college, is not dependent on an abstract criteria. It is dependent on a standard, right? It is dependent on an objective standard, right? So then it is fair because everybody is subjected to the same conditions, right? Now it guides instructional and diagnostic decisions. As we've already taken up this example. Now, a lot of you, when you get admission into MPhil, will be performing psychodiagnostic tests, right? Would be performing IQ tests. What is the purpose of it? The purpose of it is to help you understand what is the quality of the symptoms, what is the intensity of the symptoms, what is the intensity of or what is the kind of help that this person needs, right? What is the mode of, what is the kind of therapy, what is the kind of intervention that this person needs, right? So it actually helps you reformulate your therapy, your diagnostic intervention, your instructional intervention. Instructional intervention matlab, if there is a problem with the IQ, you can modulate your instructional pedagogy accordingly, right? For example, if there is somebody who is working with SLD, right, it will be immensely helpful to know how can you work, how can you change your instructional, your way of giving instructions to ensure maximum retention, right? And how do you know if this person has SLD? Your tests are important. And why are tests important? Why are tests used? They're important, or they're used because they help you arrive at a degree of, say, confidence. And why do they help you arrive at that confidence? Because they are standardized. And why are they standardized? Because of the norms. How do you know they are standardized? Because of the norms, right? So there is the link that you can follow. It supports research and policy. Of course, it helps you research and formulate policy on the different things that you're testing, right? Now, development of norms. What are the ways of developing? What is the procedure involved in developing norms? First is define the target population. It is also called the normative population. So what is the target population? Target population is the group for which this test is intended, right? So you need to clearly define कि मैं ये टेस्ट किसके लिए बना रही हूँ, right? So that is the first step. Now it is, say for example, if I am testing for, say, women, I need to define that I'm testing for women with this educational qualification between this grade, or this age, right? So that has to be clearly defined, because uski basis that will help you, that will help lay the, say, broader context. Remember we were talking about context setting. तो broader context ये है जो सबसे broad question है कि actually ये test किसके लिए है. Okay, then it must define the relevant characteristics: age, grade, language, culture, level, etc., right? So at what age, what is the age group of this target population? What is the educational level? What is the cultural background, right? Whether it is this test taker is based in India, in a collectivistic culture, in an individualistic culture, things like that, right? So you have to define that right at the outset. That is the first step, right? The key principle is norms are meaningful only if the normative group matches the group in which the test will actually be used. So what does this mean? Simply put, it means कि जिस ग्रुप के लिए ये टेस्ट डेवलप हुआ है उसी ग्रुप में ये यूज होना है, which means that if you've developed the test for women, say between the age range of 20 to 25, say with graduation as the minimum qualification, then the test is effective only, or the test results hold true only if it is administered to that group, right? Only in relation to that group. So that is the simple meaning of this. So what is the first step? The first step is defining the target population and the characteristics of the target population, right?